congratulations. And I guess the first obvious question would have to be, when did you get the confirmation that you were going to be in the squad, and just what were those emotions when you actually got told, yep, you're back in the Socceroos?
Hi Joe, nice to see you as well. I got a message from Arnie when we were on the bus going back to the airport the day after the grand final on Sunday. Just said that he wanted to call me, and I was a little bit excited when I saw that, but I didn't want to get my hopes up. So when I got back to Melbourne, I gave him a quick call. He gave me the good news, and yeah, I was absolutely ecstatic. Of course, it's something that I've been talking about and wanting for a long time, and it's always an honour to be called up to represent your country.
Mate, talk me through your emotions there of that. Obviously, you've had a crushing experience the night before. You were so close to winning the grand final. So you got that, and then contrast that with the highs of returning to the national setup. What was that 24 hours like for you emotionally?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was really, really disappointed with the way the grand final turned out. It was a tough pill to swallow for us as a squad. I think hearing the good news the next day helped me out quite a bit because instead of sitting on what had happened during that game for the next 3 months, leading into the next season, back into pre-season, it gave me something to kind of look forward to again, rather than just being basically upset about what had happened the whole off season. So it was good because it put like I don't know how to say it, but it made me feel a little bit better about what had happened because at least I had something to look forward to, something to break up the the misery of the defeat, I guess.
Vince, we'll come to you.
Thanks, Kobe. Hey, Danny. Congratulations on the selection, mate.
Thank you.
Did you? I'm sure you always hoped this was going to happen, but were there times over the last sort of 5, 6 years? Obviously, we're all aware of the struggles you had with injury and whatnot while you were in Europe. Did you think at any point that this might not happen for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think along the journey that I've had the last couple of years, there was definitely moments of not believing in myself and doubting myself. But I think it really helped the team and the environment that I was in this year. We were very competitive, very professional, and it was a really great bunch of lads. They all got around me. They helped me out a lot, and I'm in a really good place right now. I'm happy to be back in the fold and in the mix of things. I think this is where I belong, and hopefully I can build on it.
And how much of a better player do you feel like you are now compared to the last time Australia saw you in a green and gold? And sort of what aspects do you think you've improved in your game?
I think it's uncomparable. I think I've improved so much different aspects of my game that I didn't have before. I think my movements off the ball are much better. I think I'm much better defensively. I think I was always good on the ball and exciting going forward, but I think there was certain aspects of my game that were lacking to make me a more well-rounded player, and I think those are the things that I worked on this year. And also being more consistent across my performances helped too.
Luke, we'll come to you.
Yeah, hi Dan, hope you're good, mate. Congratulations. Arnie's constantly spoken in the past about trying to, all through the Asian Cup particularly, trying to inject that X factor in the final third and making that part of the Socceroos DNA as well as not just the hard, tough running and tackling, pressing. Has he spoken with you about anything about that, about trying to make sure that you are your natural self now you're back here?
He hasn't spoken specifically to me about that, but Arnie's he's always been very good with encouraging the front players to express themselves and to be free in their minds when they play and with the way they want to play going forward. I've been in camp with Arnie a couple of times and he's always encouraged me to do, play off my instinct and do what I think is right in that moment. So I think that kind of goes without saying. And, he's mentioned that that's one of the reasons that he's picked me and put me in the squad and wants to push me to be back into the national team. So, yeah, I think it's a great compliment to myself and in any way that I can help this squad to achieve greater things, yeah, I'm here for it.
Just wondering, I mean, Popper's got the best out of you. Arnie said that yesterday that he was impressed with what Popper did with you. Can you just take us through, has there been anything specific that, once you got to Melbourne victory, that Tony sat down with you and said, all right, this is how we rebuild you as a player and get you back to your best?
I think the biggest takeaways for me with this season working under the boss has been, I think, the mental side of my game, which is just bringing consistency week in, week out, and being willing to doing the stuff that I need to do off the ball. That's the first thing. And I think the second thing is having the capacity to do that, being in a place physically where I can do the running that's required.
Ben, we'll come to you.
Yeah, Daniel, so did Arnie give you things to work on to get back into Socceroos when we haven't seen you for so long? Did he tell you what you needed to change and just how hard have you worked to get back to where you are now?
Look, it wasn't a conversation that we explicitly had, but I think I always kind of knew where his head was at. It was, me being back at my best. And I think also the other side was, like I said, working on that defensive work rate and that consistency. I think representing Australia is an honour, and I think you've got to be playing at the highest level to do that. And for me, it was always just about getting back to that, and also making myself a well-rounded player in the process. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I muted myself. And so now you're back here. We're all happy to see it. Obviously, do you still feel like you can contribute a lot? I mean, you are only 25, right? I think people sometimes forget.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a good national career ahead of you still.
Absolutely. Look, obviously, no one has a crystal ball. We don't know what the future holds, but for now, I've had a good season. I don't think it's been a spectacular season. I still think there's more to come. It's been a solid season for me. I'm happy to be rewarded to get a call up, and I think it's a really good building block, a good foundation for me to build on and to push myself and see what I can really get out of myself. I'm obviously really happy to be here. It's an honour, and hopefully there's more to come.
Marco?
G'day, Daniel. Arnie was saying yesterday for the next window I think it's in September, it's going to be hard for him to pick A-League players because you guys won't be in season then. So how important is it for you to do well in these games, and sort of how do you balance that eagerness to do well and not going overboard with it? That's
a really good question. How do I balance that? I guess you've got to know what your job is on the team, and you've got to just be consistent with what you're doing. And for me, I'm going to come into these games and these camps with the same attitude that I've had all year. I'm going to be working my socks off and just trying to do what's best for the team. I think that's the most important thing.
And mate, just on Nestering, I guess he's probably the point in his career where you were maybe 6 years ago, about to go to a big club. You got any advice for him how to handle that, and I don't know, maybe do something different that you sort of maybe didn't do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is just being able to handle the pressure, and also being able to handle the highs and the lows of a football career. And what this job, it's a roller coaster. There's a lot of emotional highs, there's a lot of emotional lows. He's experienced that a little bit this season, and I think his ability to manage that and to be consistent, like I said again, I know I've been using that word a lot, but I think it's so vital. To be consistent going forward is going to be the main differentiating factor between how well his career is going to go. So he's obviously a great talent. He's a great kid as well. So yeah, I'll be having those chats with him in camp, hopefully, if I can get a little bit of one-on-one time with him. But yeah, like I said, I just think it's about being able to manage the good with the bad.
Jacob, come to you.
Hi, Daniel. This season, sort of already talking about some of the improvements you've made to the game. For example, Tony Popovich was talking about after you scored your brace with the left foot, it's that work you've done on your left foot. You finished as one of the top creators in the entire league. So firstly, how do you sort of maybe reflect, sort of looking on the season, on some of the improvements you have made in these aspects, and what can we maybe expect to see from you maybe heading into next season, and what you're going to be working on with your game?
I think it's just going to be a continuation of what's been happening and what's been working for me this season. I think taking my game physically again to another level will help me. Being able to repeat more high intensity actions will help me be even more creative. Continuing to work on my finishing will help. I think a good little boost to my goals and assist tally would be nice. And like you said, I was very good creatively going forward, but how do I make that into just high number of assists rather than creating a high number of chances? So I think focusing on those kind of things will help me a lot, and just continuing to improve on the things that I improve will help me too.
And in recent Socceroos squad, we've maybe seen a bit of a criticism for the lack of out-and-out wingers, and now we see, obviously, yourself and aforementioned Nestor and Kunda both added to the squad. What do you think you guys can, for example, add on the wings and just sort of add that sort of bright spark to the team?
Yeah, I think we're kind of similar a little bit in the profile that, like you said, we're both out-and-out wingers, and we're both very good in one-on-one situations. We've got speed. We like to take the ball forward. We're very direct. So I think that's what we can bring to the team. You know, we're the kind of wingers that like to be isolated with our fullbacks out wide and just be running at them. So, you know, if that's something that's going to work tactically, then that's what we're going to bring.
Jake, come to you.
Hi Daniel, apologies, my camera's not working, but hopefully you can hear me all right. As mentioned before, it seems like you've been around forever, but you are, after all, only 25. Do you still harbour ambitions of going back to Europe, and how important is performing on the international stage for that?
Absolutely. I mean, I've always have and always will have the ambition to play at the highest level possible for myself. Sorry, can you repeat the question? I actually forgot it. My bad.
No worries. How important is having those performances on the international stage for the Socceroos for putting yourself in the shop window as such?
Yeah, like it's going to be vital. I think being consistent throughout the season is just as important. I think coming in here and also showing what I can do at a high level is also important. I think, yeah, I mean, playing good with the national team is incredible. Of course, it's something that I really would love to be able to do. You know, if I manage to get on the pitch. Yeah, I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, yeah, obviously it's going to be good for me if I play well, but I feel like that's just a given.
Yeah, has Arnie said about how does he want you to, you know, be playing in a European league for your ability to be selected for Socceroos going forward?
That's not a chat that I've had with Arnie yet. I got into camp late last night, and I've jumped on this call straight after brekkie. So I think it's going to be important going forward, especially with, like you guys mentioned, about the September window with the players in Europe being in season and the A-League players not having started their season yet. I think that's definitely going to affect selection. Also playing at Europe, playing at a high level, being a starter will help, of course. I think, yeah. Of course, I think, yeah, playing in Europe at a high level consistently will help with national team selection.
We'll come to Vince and Joe, just one more piece, and then we'll need to wrap it there, guys. Vince, you first.
No worries. Yeah, it is. Daniel, if you had a time machine, you go back to the Daniel Arzani in Russia 2018, what would you tell yourself based on the things you learned, I guess, you know, in the ensuing years?
I think my biggest takeaway would be to enjoy the process and to not be so harsh on myself. I think that's something that I struggled with early on in my career, is that football was everything to me, and when things weren't going well, that really affected me outside of the pitch, and it also kind of snowballed from one bad performance into another. It's actually something I spoke about with Adam Peacock last week, and it's just about being able to differentiate life outside of football from how football is going. I think that helps you have consistency, and it's something that comes with maturing as a footballer. It's just, yeah, being happy off the pitch, focusing on that and how that translates to good performances on the pitch.
Joey?
Daniel, a lot of the best stuff that we saw from you this season at Victory came when you and Zizou, the chemistry that you have, the two of you would basically set up little games of futsal in the corner or something like that, and Bruno would get involved as well, and maybe another midfielder. A lot of that's built off chemistry, which you obviously don't have with a lot of these Socceroos boys. I guess, how do you go about attempting to build that or finding new ways to add that creative spark coming into an unfamiliar environment?
Yeah, I think that's something that's built over time, so it'd be difficult to kind of initiate that chemistry straight away. But I think it also helps the quality of the players that you have around you. You know, there's incredibly talented players all across the squad. I've actually played with a few of them as well, so, you know, it's not my first time playing with them. yeah, I think that's just something that happens naturally. Also, it's another thing. You don't know who you're gonna have that kind of chemistry with that I had with Zizou, and if it happens, I'll be happy. But I think playing international football is also a little bit of a different ball game. It's very, I feel like there's more isolated actions happening all across the pitch. It's very tactical as well. So different games present different challenges. So just take those on as they come.